It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another Walking Dead video. This is going to be my promo or trailer breakdown for the next episode, Season 9, Episode 12, called Guardians. First up, we have this shot of some walkers and Whisperers probably amongst them. Now, this is most likely when Alpha and the other Whisperers are taking Lydia back to their camp. Then we have this shot of Lydia as well. She is most likely on her way back to her camp. We have Alpha right here and we have Lydia right here. And in the voiceover, we have Lydia saying, "I act like I needed help." So most likely what she's talking about is what she had to do when she was at the hilltop. So most likely she's telling Alpha that she had to put on this role in order to act like she needed help to get their trust. Now, we don't know whether she's going to tell them everything or whether, she's gonna play both sides in a way. Now, from the looks of it, it seems like someone is watching them. Now, I think this is actually Henry watching them. And this kind of connects to this shot that we have here where we have Henry actually watching Lydia and the other Whisperers with Alpha there. Now, Henry did sneak out at the end of last episode, so we knew he was gonna make his way to the Whisperers camp, so it seems like he's just following them first. Then it seems like he's going to be confronted by a Whisperer right here, but Henry is able to, knock him out maybe. But then we have another Whisperer coming forward. Now in the voiceover, we also have Lydia saying, "I lied to get them to trust me," which goes back to what I said about her talking to Alpha about, how she put on this role or this act and lied in order to get them to trust her. Which is true to an extent. It's not entirely true. Like I said, we don't know whether she's going to tell Alpha that at the end of the day, she did tell them about everything or not. But from what it seems at this point, she's telling Alpha and the other Whisperers a part of the story. But then we have the person that stepped forward right here, none other than Beta. So we have Beta confronting Henry here after Henry knocks the other Whisperer out. Can't wait for this interaction and, to see how Henry's going to get manhandled by Beta, basically. We have Beta knocking Henry out or punching him and knocking him down. Then we have this shot of Alpha. We have Lydia behind her and we have some other Whisperers. This is most likely at the Whisperers camp, which is pretty cool. Then we have right here Alpha turning around looking at Lydia. That's also very, very interesting. Now, as you can see, there are people sitting down right here. So I think this is most likely the Whisperers camp. And we have some sheets in the background, some things hung over in the background. So it seems like this is the Whisperers camp. Then we have this shot, which is very interesting. We have Lydia walking up to Henry. Beta's right here. And Lydia actually knocks Henry out, punches him in the face, which is interesting. Now, I think Alpha most likely forced Lydia to do this in order to get her to trust Lydia, to see that, she's not connected with this group whatsoever. But this is very, very interesting. Then we have this shot, which is also very cool and interesting. Beta talking to Alpha. Beta says, "We need to protect ourselves. We need to be ready." That's pretty interesting and intense. Now, as you can see, Beta is putting Alpha's mask on for her, and they are kneeling in front of this kind of sink. We do see this sink in another part of the trailer as well. Now, it's made out of animal skin, it seems like. So it's not your typical sink, but we do see it later on. Now, going back to what Beta is saying, we need to protect ourselves. We need to be ready. I think this is related to Henry being there. So they are thinking that they need to protect themselves. They don't know how many of the other survivors group are going after them. So they need to protect themselves. They need to go for them before they attack first. So it's kind of like Beta talking in Alpha's ears, getting her to give the okay for them to attack, which is pretty cool and interesting. Then we have this shot of Daryl. He's most likely going out looking for Henry, trying to find him. We know Connie went with him as well. Then we have this shot of Connie and Henry together. And then this shot, now as you can see, we have Connie, Henry, and Daryl's dog right here. Then we have this shot of Connie and Daryl. They're holding this sign, communicating with each other. They said he caught up with them. Most likely they mean Henry caught up with the Whisperers and maybe was captured. Maybe that's what this is related to. Then we have this shot of Michonne at Alexandria, which is pretty interesting. Michonne says, putting ourselves out there is dangerous. Now, I think she's talking to Father Gabriel. Most likely, they're talking about the Whispers. Now, we don't know whether they know Negan escaped and came back or not. We don't even know if Negan came back. I don't even know if this is related to Negan or not. But I think this is most likely related to the Whispers and whether or not they should help out in that conflict or not. Then we have this shot of Henry, most likely when he is at the camp or going after Lydia in the first place. Then we have this shot, which is very interesting. We have what seems to be Beta holding a walker up to the tree. Now, we don't know if this is a Whisper or this is a walker. I'm leaning more towards this being a walker and they're just going to skin it. But we don't know for sure. Then we have this shot of Beta right here, Alpha, and Henry. This is most likely when Henry catches up to them and they take him back to their camp. Now, what's very interesting is that we have these heads on pikes. That's very, very interesting. It could be foreshadowing. It is foreshadowing, I think. But it could also be an Easter egg of what's to come in the finale or close to the finale. And it seems like with the Whispers, this is something they do all the time. It's not like a one-time thing that they do just for the survivors. Because in the comics, it seems like they only did that once, or they've never done that before, or they didn't really concentrate on that. We only saw it when they did it to our group. But it seems like this is going to be something that the TV show is going to expand and flesh out even more. Now, this is not the only time we see Head on a Pike in this trailer. We see it another time as well. But I just thought that was an interesting Easter egg that they had in there. Then we have the shot of Gabriel, most likely talking to Michonne. He says, who we supposed to turn to when we need help. So I think what's happening is Gabriel is trying to plead his case where he says, we need to work together. We need to help each other out. If this happened to us instead of Hilltop, we would want Hilltop to come help us. So we should basically do the same for them. And Michonne is most likely not going to want to help. And she's going to be more closed off in terms of volunteering to help. So I think this is most likely what the back and forth between Gabriel and Michonne is all about. Then we have this shot of Alpha holding this guy, most likely hostage, or capturing this guy. Now, we don't know whether this is just a random survivor or if this is a Whisperer who went against her commands. We don't know. But there's blood on her hands, which is also interesting. So she did something to get blood on her hands. That's very, very interesting. Then we have this shot, and we have more heads and spikes. That's what I was talking about. We have more heads and spikes, which is very cool and interesting. Like I said, it's another Easter egg or foreshadowing. We have Beta holding Henry. We have Lydia. We have Alpha. And we have the same scene here from another view. Then we have Alpha throwing the knife down. And then we have Beta holding Henry and Lydia crying. So I think what's happening is Alpha is forcing Lydia to kill Henry, to get her to trust Lydia, to see that she's not connected to Henry whatsoever. That's pretty brutal and dark. I don't know how this is going to go. I'm starting to get a little nervous for Henry. I don't think he's going to die, but I'm concerned a little bit. But this is very interesting. Whether Lydia is going to do that or not, that remains to be seen. Then we have this shot of some Whispers and Alpha. Alpha puts on her mask, which is pretty interesting. And then we have the ending with this, which is the same sink that I referred to earlier on in the trailer. And we have Alpha washing her hands in it. And there's a lot of blood already on her hands. And that's basically the end of the trailer. Very excited for the next episode. Stay tuned for my review of the last episode and my predictions for the next episode and my breakdowns of the sneak peeks that are released. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.